Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Llama Commerce Show. As always, we're here to demystify e-commerce into digestible, actionable bites. I'm Kurt Theobald, CEO at Classy Llama.
And I'm Brett Curry, lead strategist at Classy Llama, and we have an amazing show today. So excited about our topic and thrilled about our guest. And I think, is this the first time we've had a published author? No, because you're a published author.
Published? Is he?
I don't know if Ott is published.
I haven't even...
That's true. We do need to bring up Ott.
I don't know if he's published, actually. He has only one arm, so if he's doing it on a typewriter or a keyboard, it's going to be challenging. Dictation, yeah, that's a new technology, only been around for about 20 years, so that might be possible. So anyway, welcome to the show, Ott, one-arm table tennis trophy guy.
And for those of you who don't know, we award this trophy every show to the person who delivers the most value.
Yep.
We promptly then take that trophy away so we can give it away on the next show, but it is prestigious. Much coveted, highly anticipated, and it will be a part of the show today.
And usually our guest gets it, our other guest gets it because we feel bad for them, not because they really deliver the most value, but in the end it sits on my shelf, which I think signifies something important.
So along with Ott, we have a published author on our show today.
Ott is published.
Ott is published as well.
Second, we have another
published author, and actually Kurt is published as well. But Kara Harshman from Optimizely, hailing from San Francisco. So welcome to the show, Kara. So excited that you could join us. How's it going today?
Thanks, Brett and Kurt. I'm super excited to be here, coming to you live from the Optimizely HQ in sunny San Francisco, where it's 80 degrees. That's really rare for San Francisco to be hot.
It's actually about 80 here. So it's a strange, like the planets aligned, and San Francisco and Missouri are the same temperature in July, which is crazy.
Yeah, usually in Southwest Missouri in July it's about 107 with 85% humidity, and today I think it's about 80. It's just amazing. It's fantastic.
I hail from the Midwest, so I know all about the humidity and the palpable moisture in the air that comes from the Midwest. So I'm with you guys in spirit.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on being in the Bay Area. Beautiful area. We love it. So today our topic is A/B testing. As you can see, let's see if we can get the lights to adjust. This is the book that Kara wrote.
Well, purportedly. See, I just want to point something out. Like, see there at the bottom where it says Dan Soroker and Pete Kumin?
Oh, yeah, you can see it right there.
Kara Harshman, anywhere on there. Now, she says she ghost wrote it. That's what she's calling it. That sounds like a new word to me. But it means that you wrote it without getting any credit for it, which sounds a little dubious. But we're going to still give Kara credit for it. Oh, wait, hold up.
Open up on the inside, and boom, there is
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
So it's
I'm
official.
Sorry. I guess ghostwriting is a real thing.
It is a real thing. It's very common today, actually, Kurt, for a lot of business books to be ghostwritten.
I do know that, actually, just messing you with it, Kara, I totally believe Kara wrote some of that book at least. And you've actually read
It's a good book. So I met Kara at IRC in Chicago just a few weeks ago. And came by the booth, got some Optimizely swag because I'm a fan, and she said, "Hey, let me give you the book that I wrote." And I gotta shoot straight with you, Kara, and our beloved audience. I got the book, and I had pretty low expectations. I thought, okay.
Usually, companies that write books is like,
this is like the long brochure for Optimizely. I'll dig into that. So I started reading on the train on the way back to the airport.
Train?
I did. Yes, isn't that awesome?
Wow,
I like to mingle.
Quaint.
And so I took the train, and then on the plane home, I devoured this thing. It's awesome. It's insightful. It's a quick read, and it's really, really good. So after I read it, I was like, man, we got to get Kara on the show. It's going to be dynamic and really helpful. So we want to talk about A/B testing and the power that can be unlocked with A/B testing. So
how many times have we actually brought this up on the show about the importance of taking the web property that you have and maximizing the value out of it? Every single new visitor that you get, every single repeat visitor that you get, how much value they can bring has so much to do with the user experience you create on the site.
Yeah.
And so we're so excited to have Optimizely on the show because they make that accessible like nobody else that I know. And so we're really, really excited to have you on the show.
Just a few years ago, testing was a bear. It was a nightmare.
Absolutely.
Nearly impossible.
Yeah, Google Experiments, or before, I can't remember what it was called, Website Optimizer or something like that.
Google Website Optimizer.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're really excited to hear. I mean, we're really excited to hear just generally about what you've learned as you guys have been focused on the space about making a better user experience and analyzing that from a scientific perspective. So maybe just start out by talking through, how long have you been part of Optimizely? Why did you get involved with it? And what have you learned? What are some of the top level things that you've learned about A/B testing at this point?
Sure, I love to start there. And I love, Brett, I think you made a really interesting point that you assumed that the book would be about Optimizely and just kind of a glorification of what we're doing. But that's one of the main reasons I got into this, is because Optimizely is trying to debunk this basic human instinct of assumptions and not trusting your assumptions. So I was a journalism major. I went to University of Wisconsin, and I was looking for my next move, and I somehow came across Optimizely. A friend, I was looking for some feedback on a website I was working on, and I said, you guys, could you help me? What do you like? What do you not like? And my good friend sent over a link to Optimizely, and I was blown away. I mean, the product looks nothing like it does today, but I was still so impressed with the fact that mere marketing mortals, as our CEO Dan Soroker likes to say, could manipulate a website and make changes without having to touch any lines of code. So that's what hooked me in, and then I convinced them to give me a job. Not really, I just sort of was myself and had a great interview. And very persuasive. I was the second person to join the marketing team 2 years ago. To date. Yeah, and since then, our company has grown from about 25 people to over 200, and now we have offices in Amsterdam and San Francisco. The marketing
you're going to open a satellite office in Springfield, Missouri pretty soon, right?
I think we're scouting some locations there, yes. It's very desirable.
We've got a place right next door to us. It has a really, really nice view across the railroad tracks.
Good walking tracks.
Good intel.
So what I'd like to hear from, first of all, you said something really, really key that I think some people may not understand about Optimizely, and that is that you can make changes without actually doing any code changes, which is just a phenomenal leap forward for A/B testing. So that's one of the reasons we're so excited about Optimizely. It's just because they, like I said, they make it so accessible to where you don't have to know that coding and being able to do
the marketing team can run it rather than the development team,
which is always a challenge and always an objective that marketers have. They always want more control and more ability to do what they need to do. Well, Optimizely is really not just the best in class, but I think a good example to the entire e-commerce ecosystem of making things accessible to the marketing team. So that should say a lot for the kind of the faith that we have in Optimizely and what they're doing. Yep. So maybe let's start with let's talk about the value of A/B testing, Kara.
Okay.
Why should you guys have so much data? Why should someone and by the way, we pounded this into the heads of our listeners and viewers, so they're gonna be like, we've heard this again. But we want to hear from you because
from your perspective,
you sound a lot smarter than us, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the value of A/B testing?
Yes. Why would you make a case for it?
Well, to distill all of the things into one sentence, it's because there are no universal truths in marketing, in the world, in design, in anything. There's no one-size-fits-all solution for any experience, like whether it's your web page, whether it's a restaurant or office space, anything. There's nuance, and people like to experience the web in a way that's personalized for them, especially the web. The internet users are really shifting in what they expect online, and A/B testing is a way to understand and listen to what your users are telling you and then respond in a data-driven way that will maximize revenue. Most importantly, make more money from your online presence, which is what e-commerce stores are trying to do.
Yeah, and I love how we kind of stumbled into this part in the beginning of the show because I made the assumption about the book. I think most developers, most e-commerce merchants, they function and work based off of assumptions. I've seen this work in other applications, so I'm going to do it. Or I like the look of this page, and so I'm going to.
They look at themselves as the user, which is like a horrible travesty of user experience.
I mean, maybe you start
right.
It's worse than even going around the office and asking 15 different friends, family, and coworkers, hey, what do you think about this? That's actually better because at least you have a sample set. But what you guys are doing is going way beyond that.
It's sort of democratizing the design of your website, because what you think is best for your user is very oftentimes completely wrong, just completely wrong. And we hear that all the time, that A/B testing is quelling assumptions, and we all know that assumptions and if you break it up into syllables, what it means. But
what that does,
yeah, so A/B testing is a very powerful way to stop arguments and not listen to the just highest paid person's opinion. We like to say the hippo. The highest paid person's opinion is usually what wins out in an argument if you're sitting around a conference room.
Usually they're wrong.
Usually they're wrong, but
Are you trying to say something about me?
Maybe.
So, okay, so give some examples of where you have busted assumptions up. Like, you've got to have so many
e-commerce stuff.
Oh my gosh, that could be a thing. You guys do like a Mythbusters thing that's like, except to be Assumption Busters, which sounds way worse. Maybe it should just be
Assumption
Mythbusters.
Busters.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. But we want to hear, like, what experience have you had with taking assumptions and, like, destroying them? Like the button we thought was supposed to be red and it should say buy now, and it actually should say add to cart and it's blue. What are some of the things like that you've experienced?
Sure. Well, we just actually posted a Mythbusters SlideShare from Optimizely on SlideShare, so I encourage people to go look at that.
It's actually called Mythbusters?
It's called A/B Testing Mythbusters, yeah.
Nice. Boom! See, we're ahead. We're ahead of the curve.
Let's see. I mean, I think that there are a lot of best practices when it comes to e-commerce design, and I think people should just throw best practices out the window because they should take a best practice as a suggestion, and a suggestion that that has worked before and it might work for me. So I should test it. A lot of things, a lot of myths that we see are happening in the checkout funnel specifically. So the way that your forms are organized or the page flow of what steps you're going to. One myth is, or one commonly held belief is that if I make it seem like my site is very, very secure, like add trust symbols and say like money back guaranteed to all of my pages, then people will.
One trust seal is good, then 5 trust seals. Whoa!
Better, yeah.
Most secure e-commerce site ever.
Yeah, that. Almost always I've seen it not perform well because there's a thing, there's a phenomenon that people get too freaked out, like, whoa, why are you trying to tell me?
Why do they feel like they need to
hit me over the head with this trust symbol? I mean, one little 50 pixels or something can make a really big difference in your average revenue per visitor. So that is one. Don't trust the trust symbol. I would say test the trust symbol instead. Another one is navigation within the checkout funnel. So keeping your top nav, giving people opportunities to leave and keep shopping or go browse different category pages. We've seen a lot of customers remove the top navigation, and that's improved conversions drastically. VeggieTales.com, or the VeggieTales shop, actually.
Love those guys.
Real fun veggie friends, love them. They sell a lot of veggie media, and they ran a test through one of our e-commerce agency partners called Clearhead, where they removed the top nav, and they increased conversions by 19%.
Whoa!
Increased checkouts and average revenue per visitor just by removing that top nav. What else? Shop now versus buy.
I'm curious. Theoretically, when you say approaching this, do you say start with, where do you start? If I'm a merchant who hasn't done any A/B testing at all, where would you recommend that I start? What do I target first in terms of making nuanced changes? Do I make big sweeping changes and do a big A/B test? Do I do narrow things? Do I do checkout first? Where do I focus?
Right, great question. It's hard to answer that question with one overall statement because it comes down to a lot of factors. Like, what are you comfortable with? What will you easily get buy-in for? Because I recommend starting with something that you can run. I wouldn't recommend starting with a sweeping overhaul of your checkout flow or your category page design because your coworkers and your bosses might be like, I'm scared, I don't know what that will do. But if you say, let's just change the add to cart button, or let's just rearrange this navigation, or let's just any number of tiny things that may not move the needle significantly, but it'll warm your colleagues and the company culture up to testing. The idea of constantly experimenting, not settling for one person's opinion.
So you're saying that your primary driver of what should be first is actually political?
Yes, it's very political. You should have a forum. You should hold a vote. No, I think
clearly you've dealt with these problems before, though, or you wouldn't have brought that up.
Yeah. She knows how it goes.
No, it is very true. I think that's one of the most common objections, or the most common challenges that we as Optimizely see is organizational readiness, that people embrace the idea of testing and that they're ready to trust someone to go change the website, because people hold their website as sacred. And I think we need to, as I've been here longer, I've seen a maturity occurring in the industry, all industries, of being more comfortable with the idea of testing.
But letting the data make the decision rather than, not letting someone's feelings get hurt for their idea being wrong or whatever.
Yeah. All ideas are great ideas. It's actually empowering for people. Instead of saying, no, your idea sucks, we're never going to do it, you can say, that's a good idea, we'll test it. So I've seen people actually, bosses are able to be more empowering to their colleagues and their direct reports on acknowledging and putting their ideas into action. Because sometimes it's the lowest paid person who has the biggest change, an idea with the biggest change.
Well, and before Optimizely, the answer might have been, you get someone coming to a key stakeholder, and they say, hey, I'd like to make these changes to the site and see how it goes, and they're like, okay, well, and they're like, I want to test it even. They're like, okay, well, what's that going to take? I don't know whether we want to make these changes. Like, well, I test it, and it would cost $3,000 to make the change with the development time and all that. Well, yeah, that's fundamentally different now. Now they say we're not making any hard code changes, and I'll be able to do it myself. It's a paradigm shift.
It is a paradigm shift, and that's what Optimizely emanated from. Dan Soroker was working on the Obama 2008 campaign, and he was running A/B tests. That's where he thought he could add the most value to the campaign. And he was using tools that were very cumbersome. You needed to have a prowess in engineering to be able to do anything. So he and Pete Kumin, our co-founder, founded Optimizely, that was trying to make it easy for anyone to do A/B testing. And since then, we've added lots of product features. Now we're talking more about personalization and mobile. So we've released a native mobile app testing platform, so you can test your iOS apps, and it's just like if we said experience optimization. Anywhere that your customer is, you should have data points to make their experience the best it can be.
So I think at the end of the day, if you're going to take away one thing from this show, it's that when it comes to Obamacare, it's not Obama's fault, it's Dan Soroker, because he got him in to begin with.
I didn't say that. No.
Actually, that story, though, of how he transformed the email sign-up for that campaign, it's pretty eye-opening.
If you look at the Obama campaign, so many people pointed to the online side of the Obama campaign as a key to the victory.
Yeah.
Just trounced the
Republicans
on that.
Absolutely.
And so kudos to Dan, and I forgive you.
Thank you. I don't actually accept that apology because I was never in the wrong. So.
Not you, Kara. I'm forgiving him vicariously through you.
I see.
Pass that along.
But so much to be learned from that example.
So in terms of like the first step that I should take as a merchant looking at A/B testing. Yeah. So there's no pat answer to where I should focus first. Well, what kind of analysis?
Well, actually, I wanted to add one more thing to that answer. I didn't fully finish. Was look at your data.
Cut her off, Kurt. You stopped it too early. Jeez, you're so excited. Stop.
Go ahead.
Don't worry, it's okay. Look at your analytics. Look at how users or visitors are flowing through your site, where drop-off is. You can use a lot of tools out there, but if heat maps. If you have a heat map on your site, you can see where people are clicking on your page. But for the free people who are just like on a bootstrap budget, then Google Analytics is free. I'm sure you're already tracking that. So look at where bounce rates are high and engagement is low, and you can do a lot of really sophisticated things with Google Analytics. So that's wherever problem areas are is where you might want to focus your testing, where you might want to. That's an optimization point. That is like low-hanging fruit. Very easy to just jump in there and try to make some big changes or small changes, whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, or identify areas where you're seeing a change. Like we have clients that come to us and say, you know what, all of a sudden product sales for this particular product have dropped off, and my traffic is the same, and my price is the same, and I don't know what's going on. So something like that would be a great area to start tweaking and testing.
Absolutely. Yeah, there you already have the data at your fingertips. It's just taking action on it and hypothesizing ways to improve the problem.
So are you looking at primarily at, I would assume that the key metrics you're looking at in analytics would be like exit percentage, bounce rate, conversion rate, average order value? I mean, how big a part does average order value play?
Yeah, the first two definitely look at average order value. I'm not very familiar with how Google Analytics looks for an average order value perspective, but definitely, like does it go by category pages or by products?
It goes by, it'll actually pull the data from the sale, and then it'll say total revenue, and then how many transactions took place, and it takes total revenue divided by total transactions equals average order value.
Yes, definitely. Then average order value is a strong leading indicator for e-commerce. And if your average order value is really low, then you can look at running promotions. Like, okay, if someone's cart is below a certain amount, then maybe offer them a promo for buy one, get one discounted, or something to increase the value that's in their cart and keep them like feeling like, oh, yay, I get a little treat because I'm special. Who knows?
Now, can you do that through? Can you do like promotions like that through Optimizely?
Yeah, you can.
That's super cool. Now, I assume it has to collaborate with your platform, whatever e-commerce platform you're on, to make sure that promotion engine is there, and then it filters through Optimizely.
Yeah, definitely.
That's super cool.
So Kara, give us some tips. So I'm sure there are people watching saying, okay, I've got to start testing. Optimizely makes it easy. What are some tips you would give? So I'm sure you see all kinds of mistakes and people that test incorrectly. Yeah. So what are some tips you have for getting success with A/B testing?
Sure. So I guess the biggest tip is to not think of optimization or testing as a silver bullet. We put a lot of hope and value into it, and it can do those things, but not every test is going to blow not every variation is going to blow the original out of the water. So keep your hopes realistic. Make someone a champion at your company. Define an owner, because if no one's owning it, then it's going to get pushed out for bigger projects. It's not kind of second nature yet. Like when you join a marketing team, you know that email marketing and SEO and SEM and PPC are the things you must have. Optimization is slowly becoming part of the essential marketing stack. So make someone an owner of it, and then things will get done. Let your tests reach statistical significance. That's a big one. There's a lot of talk around this idea of statistical significance and when to say a test is done. And we came out with a testing sample size calculator, so you can understand
I love that tool. That's
how many. Yeah, you need to understand how many visitors you need in order for a test to reach statistical significance that says yes, we're confident that this is either a winning test or a losing test or inconclusive.
And that's something people can check out right at the Optimizely site, right, and run their calculation there and see what they need in terms of traffic.
That's really great.
Really cool.
Yeah. Most testing platforms will tell you that your test has reached statistical significance. It's sort of a mouthful.
It's really not easy to say at all.
We should come up with another word for that, because it's not fun to say. It's just
statistically good.
You should like shorten and call it like stat sig or something like that.
Oh, we do. In emails, we have our lingo, like short-term lingo.
Stig. Call it stig. Anyway, I think it's
one more tip is don't be tame. Be fearless. Some of the biggest wins can be uncovered by doing a completely different direction, stripping your entire page of all of its content and just having one headline with a button. Be fearless. Try things. You never know. You could be on the cutting edge of some web design that will soon be written about in best practices later.
Well, I think the idea of removing the trust seal, like even testing that, I'm sure whoever did that recently, there was probably somebody on that team that was afraid of that. They're like, no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, I just think, Kara, I laud you for that tip alone, because there is so much fear in business.
Yes.
And I won't say life, because I'm not going to bring it existential, but it's true. But there's so much fear in business that holds people back from making progress. And it's like, come on, guys, what's the worst that can happen to do a test and try something different? You're going to make a few of your existing customers upset. I mean, really, how breakable is their loyalty? If it's that fragile, you got other problems at play.
That's true.
Like, try it, test it, and in the end, people are drawn to the progressive companies out there that are trying new things. I mean, you should ask Bezos how many times he's changing, or not him specifically, but his team are changing the Amazon web property. I mean, it's bananas how much they're changing things and trying new things and whatever. And guess what? They just reported that they grew their revenue by 23%. And to put that in the scope of some kind of like magnitude, we're talking about 23% of I don't know, $50 billion. It's ridiculous. They're doing something crazy, right? They're a monster and they're growing by 23%. This is mind blowing. Yeah. And so step back and think about your business from that perspective and go, do I want to be do I want to be able to generate those kind of results? You have to be fearless if you're going to do that, and really, and Optimizely they're the safety net.
Takes the risk.
They put the bumpers up in your little bowling experience. You're gonna hit a few pins no matter what. Okay, so throw the ball down there.
I love the bumper bowling analogy.
Just really on the spot, just boom. You guys need to use it in your marketing, by the way, but you will.
Bumper bowling. Oh, I like that.
But no, I think that's great. And also the point about having a point person. We say it over and over again, and I tell people this all the time. You have to create rhythms of success in your organization, and if you don't have a point person, the rhythm isn't going to happen. Right. Because what's going to happen? You do a few tests, and you're like, that was cool. Maybe even produce some results, but then it just gets lost in the mix. You've got to have that owner that's going to keep driving that forward. So,
and you have to have the owner share. You have to empower the owner. You have to give them tools. You have to give them access to people,
let them be fearless.
Ideas. Yeah, let them equip them with what they need to be independent, and encourage them to share the results. Make it a social thing. I think it's great. Have a bet going on which variation will win.
I like that idea. And an office bet on what the winner's going to be. Because then when someone bets on the loser, they're going to be like, man, we got to keep this testing thing up. Because if I was wrong, that's saying something.
Absolutely true, and that's some of the most powerful things when the decision makers, who usually were the hippo, like I said, are wrong. That's when it really hits home. Okay, this A/B testing thing, that's important.
Yeah, I think it's funny because we're almost saying if you take your business too seriously, you're not taking it seriously enough. But if you don't take it very seriously, then that's really being a serious business person. And if you can follow that,
that was
then
amazing.
I'm impressed. Kara was not again. Kara's a sharp cookie. I'm getting this sense.
Yeah.
She really,
she's
on it.
I have no idea
if a person can follow me and my logic, they're
done.
Sharp.
No wonder you ghost wrote a book, man. Come on.
Let me tell you, it's not an easy thing. Getting Dan and Pete's time is not an easy thing.
I believe that. I believe that.
So we kind of alluded to this a little bit, but I know this is always really helpful. What are some pitfalls in testing? What are some things people need to avoid?
Yeah.
Some common mistakes, common misconceptions?
Yeah. One is measuring the wrong thing. So measuring success, basing success off of something called what we call a micro conversion, like a click. That doesn't actually lead to revenue.
Mm-hmm.
So
this button got twice as many clicks as this other button.
Right.
But what did it do downstream? So really defining your goals early is very important, and not just paying attention to vanity metrics like clicks. Sometimes clicks can be important, but if they're not actually, for e-commerce, if they're not generating revenue for you, then those clicks might not be very important. Another thing is blindly implementing winning things that won for someone else that you haven't tested. So okay, Amazon is doing all these great things with plain text image or plain text descriptions. I don't know, something like that, or plain text links. Let's make every link on our page plain text. Well, no, that's Amazon.
You're not Amazon.
Right. Or even a smaller, Amazon is sort of this Goliath, big, scary example, but you know what I mean, that if you see, blue button works really well, then I'm going to go make all my buttons blue. No, you have to be skeptical, test it, and that's what testing enables, is this very scientific layer of skepticism to bring to your website.
Have you ever seen people, they do a test, and then they make the change because it appeared to be significantly better, and then they test the opposite thing, they test the backwards, and they find out that actually for some reason what they thought was better ended up failing the second test. So even with the statistical significance in place and all doing everything right, they end up going back to what they originally had because after they made the change, they found out that it didn't actually work better.
Yes, I've seen that, but it depends on a number of things, like seasonality. So something that worked in the winter or during like a holiday season sale could not work in the summer or another time, especially for e-commerce. Your business is so seasonal, so you have to continuously be testing like big things. Just do gut checks. Try it again.
What external factors could be driving this as well?
Yeah.
So you have to. In order to protect against that, you do have to continue testing things that you already believe are better or working.
Yeah, testing is a continuous project. It's not a one-time, I'm going to test a few pages and then be done. It's a constant labor of love that's actually going to bring you a lot of money. So you should probably do it.
But I think the challenge is most people see A/B testing as, and I think I might be guilty of this as well until this conversation, but A/B testing is like this thing that happens on the edge. It's all about the edge of the business where you're pushing to the outer perimeter and trying new things, but stepping back to the core and testing the assumptions that already exist and things you've already tested, you got to go back and test them again to make sure those assumptions, those tested assumptions continue to hold true. I think that's a really important takeaway that would be lost on most people because they look at it as like, I'm only testing new things that I'm thinking about doing, nothing that I've already tested or that I've already done that I feel really solid about.
Yeah.
You do need to continue to test those things. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think testing also gives you like a pat on the back. It kind of gives you kudos. If you were the one who had a great idea that you implemented a long time ago, and that's the status quo, if people are questioning it, you can be like, all right, well, let's test it. And if it turns out that your thing is actually the best, then good for you. You had a great idea. Your intuition was right. So it's not only a way to ask questions, but it's validation to know that your ideas are actually beneficial.
So, okay, I've got a question that's related because this is something I think comes up a lot. You've got an organization, you've never done A/B testing. Do you do it yourselves? Do you take the DIY route, or do you hire someone to help you that has expertise in it? That's a big question on people's minds.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. I've done a lot of writing about this, and there's a whole section in the book about build, buy, or hire, whether or not you're going to build your own testing platform like Amazon or Etsy, for example, or hire or buy something like Optimizely or one of our complements. So I would say that it depends on a few things. First of all is the human power, the human resource that you have. If you have a marketer who has time, if you have a front-end developer who can help quality assure and make sure that all the tests you're running are not going to break anything, that's important. While it's not vital, like you can use Optimizely and other testing platforms some without developers, not all. It's very nice to have.
Just one point of clarity, Kara, with what you're saying, I actually meant with Optimizely. Let's say that we're just talking about using Optimizely. There's still room for someone to do it themselves, and obviously Optimizely makes that so much more accessible and possible.
Yes.
But there's still room for support around that. Like our esteemed colleagues in the States, Blue Acorn, have really focused on this. They do such great work, and I can only say good things about them, even though I just lost a big deal from them, and I'm super mad at them for that.
No.
But no, I actually, if we're going to lose something, I'd like to lose it to them. But
they're great friends of ours.
I know they focus on this, but the question is like, when do you go with a support, an existing agency or support, and when do you do it internally and do it yourself?
Yeah, well, yes, thank you for clarifying, because absolutely they're better together. We call them solutions partners that we have. As we work with people like you, with people like Blue Acorn, Clearhead, Performix, lots of digital agencies, and they can just I think what you have to decide is how much you want to invest in optimization. Optimization is an ROI positive activity. The more you put into it, the bigger gains you can get, the more money you'll make, and you'll pay for itself. So if you are wanting to do very, very simple things, just like changing text on a few pages, then maybe you don't need an agency. But if you want someone to come in with a fresh pair of eyes and help you really take your business to the next level and be your partner, be your confidant, be your sometimes technical technical prowess and you're implementer, then definitely consider using an agency or a partner.
And it may help to have someone who's done a lot of testing to help you make testing part of your ongoing business.
Yeah.
So that's the key. And Kurt touched on it, you talk about it in the book, but where testing becomes just part of the way you do business.
No.
Yeah.
You're always testing.
Yeah, I think along with that, I think the key is, if you're going to take the DIY route, it's so critically important to take Kara's advice and pick a point person, someone that's going to own it. I would say even if you're going to work with an outside, you still want someone who's going to be a point person because they just understand your side of the business. Yeah, I just think that's critical. So either way, you got to have someone owning it, but it's just even so much more important if you're just going to do the DIY route. To have someone inside owning.
Hey, one quick question. I know we're about out of time. This has been so fantastic. We don't want to wrap it up too quickly. So any new innovations, new features that have recently come out from Optimizely? And then, if you can, and this is where we could get top secret, anything that's about to be released?
And you want to debut for the first time
on
ever
the Llama Conference show.
I mean, everybody does it. Everybody does it. The expectation's there already.
Yeah.
You got to talk about new things that nobody knows about.
Exactly.
Okay, let's see. New things is a lot of advancement in the ability to personalize your experience, your web experience for different types of visitors. So we call it audiences, and it's this idea that you can target a different version of your site to a different visitor with different characteristics. So you guys, I'm sure, can understand what I'm saying is
segmentation, repeat buyer, someone that's viewed this in that category, someone that's viewed this product, someone that has products in their cart.
Someone that came from a Google search, someone that came from a paid search, someone that came from
new versus returning visitor, someone who's logging back in or has something in the cart. There's so much you can do and to take advantage of this very rich information that you have about your visitors. You know so much about them from the time that they visited your site, then they go off and browse the web, then they come back. You have a story about them that you can use to help them find the products that are right for them.
So if you're just new to e-commerce, or you've had your head in the sand, or I just insulted you because you have been in the business for a long time and you still don't know this, segmentation is a key part of e-commerce, and it's blowing up in its importance. You're creating a personalized experience. That's exactly what Kara's talking about. I love to hear that that's something you guys are incorporating into your platform to allow for that responsiveness to those segments, but it's happening across every marketing vertical out there, email, or now A/B testing, or just the user experience, the hardwired user experience needs to be tailored. I quote Bezos all the time on this. He says, and this was a while ago, he said, I have 24 million customers, has a lot more now, and I need 24 million unique websites. And that's
pioneers of personalization.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's really stunning how they do it. Some people don't like it, but it's kind of scary sometimes.
Yeah, well, I buy 80% of the time I go to Amazon.com, so I never go there because I know I'm going to buy.
I know. It's so
you enter that site.
So if you want people to have an 80% chance of buying when you go to your site, you need to look in segmentation and be responsive to the unique aspects and characteristics of the users on your site.
Another thing that we just launched that's brand new, happened yesterday, is an integration with Qualaroo. Qualaroo is a qualitative feedback polling system that you can add, or service you can add to your website to ask people questions like, what's preventing you from making this purchase?
Nice.
Or why did you decide not to buy? Or what are you looking for here? And then with the Optimizely integration, you can then target an experience based on how someone responded, based on how someone answered the question. You can imagine that's like super powerful, because if someone said, I didn't purchase, didn't find what I was looking for, then you can the next page could be, well, were you looking for this, or send us an email.
So hold on just a second, Kara. Are you guys secretly becoming a conversion optimization tool?
Well, yes, I think we've been that the whole time.
Well, you've been an A/B testing. Well, okay, that's true. Okay, that's not what I meant. I mean, like, to where it's not like this testing environment, but it's actually it's an ongoing, consistent thing that exists there, like a responsive tool, to where it's not something where you test it, if it works out, you hard code it in. I mean, is this like a conversion optimization tool that isn't just about testing?
Absolutely. This is, from the beginning, I think this has been a misconception about Optimizely, is that it was just the simple to use, easy player. But we are simple and powerful. We are conversion optimization, very robust, simple, and very powerful. Like multivariate testing.
Eric, you dropped out there. Sorry. You were just waxing eloquent, and then you dropped out for a second.
Am I back?
You're back. You're back
okay,
in action.
Good. Yes, so it's way beyond testing. Testing is a first step to personalization, and Optimizely is a full-fledged full-fledged conversion rate optimization, now really experience optimization platform.
Yeah, awesome. and Brett just looked at me. He I don't know what the comment was, but he made me feel stupid just now because he's like, yeah, of course it is a conversion optimization.
I try to do that when I can.
I know.
It's
so
rare, but I do try to make it happen.
So sweet. Yeah. Wow. At least he's a nice guy.
At least, yeah.
That's real. I think that's fantastic, and that's really exciting. What you guys are doing, and I mean, and there's so many world debut things that just happened just now that Kara just shared with us. That's never been shared anywhere before, ever. Right, Kara?
Yes.
Like, I don't even know if executives know that this is happening yet.
Yeah.
They should know. They might not
ask Dan if this is actually happening. Like, does he know that this is happening?
I think Dan knows. He's sitting down over there. I think he knows. Yeah.
All right. You can give a thumbs up for me because I think that's pretty cool stuff.
Fantastic.
So let's talk about actionable bites. Like, what do we want people to walk away from this? Yeah. Okay. So you've got merchants. I bet you the majority of people that listen to this or watch this are in a place where they're like, I don't really have a rhythm for A/B testing in my organization because, frankly, I think we're still there in the ecosystem. That's typically where people are at. So let's speak to those. What are the actionable bites that you would give them?
Okay, let's see. Actionable bites are: be fearless, don't trust your gut always, but listen to your gut, then question your gut. Yes, question your gut. Befriend your developers.
I love the idea of finding a champion. I think you got to find a champion.
Yeah, find a champion and then buy him or her pizza or whatever they like. Be very nice to that person. Let's see.
And they got to pick a tool. Like, I mean, with the reason we have Optimizely here and Karen is not just because she's wicked smart, because we didn't know she was smart until she'd been on the show. Although Brett did, because she's read a book that's been ghostwritten by her.
Right.
Knows, but I didn't. But we have Optimizely on the show because we believe in what they're doing, because they make it so accessible. They're just best in class. I don't know of anything else like it that makes A/B testing, conversion optimization so accessible.
Yeah. So I would add a last actual bite there, unless Kara has one that she wants to add as well.
I have one.
Do a demo of Optimizely. Just demo it.
Take a look at it.
Awesome. I was going to say, test it out. That's the most powerful thing I think you can do, is just go to Optimizely.com and put your URL into our homepage and then click test it out. And we tested that button, by the way.
That was another fascinating
action. Yeah, testing that button. We learned a lot about that, about the mentality of like psychology behind getting started with something, behind starting a new task.
People test it out.
Seems simple.
Started, right?
Exactly. Test it out versus get started. It was get started, and we thought that seemed like the first step of many steps.
Commitment, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah, when it was really just quick into the editor. So just look how your website, load your website up into the editor, and then play around, and you'll be amazed. So
here's my actionable bite. Take one out. Go to Optimizely.com. and look at the tool and try it. Because here's the thing, the barrier to entry for so many people is they say, this is too complicated, this is too much, I don't know where I'm going to get started, whatever. Optimizely will relieve so much of that pressure, and it's like dirt cheap. And they can't call it cheap themselves because nobody calls themselves cheap, but I'm going to call it cheap for them.
Super
it's
affordable.
Cheap, affordable, right?
It's
inexpensive.
It's a great value.
But I'm not gonna bull that word. I'm not gonna say it on live. But I'm not gonna do that to you because it's just a great price. It's cheap, okay? So take a look at it and try it, and you're gonna go, oh wow, this is actually easy, and I can incorporate this. I'm gonna do this. Oh, and it might increase my conversion rate by like 50% with like 1 month of effort. So why wouldn't I do this? And then you'll realize that you've been insane for months, years. Ever since you started your company, you have been foolish. And then you'll choose not to.
And then you'll be sad for a moment, but then you'll just be so excited because
you'll celebrate. You'll bask in the glory.
You'll celebrate your foolishness, and then you'll emerge out of it like a baby.
You got to be okay
born.
with that. Yes.
Yep.
Another actual bite I would add is check out A/B testing.
Which you can't see because
which
of
you can't
the
see
glare.
because of the lighting, but A/B testing, look it up online.
Like yeah.
It's available on
Amazon.
Amazon.
At Amazon near you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
so
called
good.
A/B testing.
testing.
Don't
The
put
most
it.
powerful way to turn clicks into customers.
Turn clicks into customers. Love it.
Like it, but don't look for it under the author's name, Kara, because
I think they'll find it.
you will. You think
Yeah?
you will?
Yeah, you would.
Well, that's just because Amazon's so good at finding obscure names written in the book by ghostwriters.
Right, that's true. Thank you. Bless their hearts. They're great.
Awesome.
Kara, thank you so much. We love you very much for being on the show.
Thank you, Kurt and Brett. It was
Very
so
well done.
fun.
Awesome.
Sharing your insights. And of course, we have to award the one-arm table tennis trophy to Kara.
I know
she
you're
received
blushing.
it.
You're
you
blushing right now.
Can't
I know,
see the live
it's
video.
so
She
powerful.
just
I
received
win.
it through the camera.
Woohoo!
And now it's going back on my shelf where it belongs. And
we will send you some llama swag, though.
Self.
Our gift to you, we're sending you
Legit
some
llama swag.
It'll be coming your way.
Thank you.
So we can give you a little semi-permanent tattoo, and then we'll maybe hook you up with a shirt or a mug or something like. We'll send you some great stuff. And for anyone else that wants to get awesome llama-denominated items, go to llamaswag.com, which we have not A/B tested at this point. So
we should.
We need to do that because we want to sell more stuff. Our business is mainly selling swag. It's not even so much about the agency services business, just so you know.
Yeah. And I will offer a promo to the first 10 people who tweet at me and Classy Llama something they learned on this.
Ooh.
I'll send them a free book. It's autographed by me.
Oh, an autographed book by the ghostwriter.
That's
This
awesome.
is amazing. When you get Dan and Pete on, I mean, it doesn't even matter. You're the ghostwriter, so that's the.
I can get them.
cool
Yeah, we'll
thing.
get them.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's autographed book. First 10 people to tweet at Kara. What's your handle?
At Kara Harshman.
At Kara Harshman.
Okay, at Kara Harshman. There you go.
Yeah.
So tweet that. We'll post that somewhere on ours so you have the tweet name or whatever. What you've learned in this show. If you say nothing, I will track you down and teach you something.
Exactly.
And I will not retweet that.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, Kara, great. Thanks so much. Hey, so the audience out there, go to Optimizely.com if you want more information about Optimizely. If you don't, we think you're crazy. And reach out to us. Let us know what's on your mind, what challenges you're facing. We will send you llama swag if we end up actually addressing one of the challenges.
Give us a topic.
Facing.
If we use it, llama
Absolutely.
swag is
Question,
coming your way.
challenge, whatever
Is
it
it
is.
alpaca?
What?
Do you have alpaca swag?
No.
Wait. That's offensive. I'm
is a little bit
offended.
offensive.
You might as well ask us if we sell horsehair.
Well, it's a llama.
Is it? Are alpacas technically llamas?
I don't even know.
I don't know.
All right, we're
They're
gonna look this
similar.
up. I may be offended. I'm not sure. You're smart,
that.
and now you've questioned that, and now I've got to
Okay.
Llamas.
yeah to remain.
Okay, good. Okay. I want a llama hair blanket.
Okay.
Wow, that's a little. Okay, so
That's asking a lot.
we'll sign an agreement after this based on certain contingencies of performance. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming in as always.
Cheers.
Stay
Stay classy.
classy.
Stay classy, everyone.